All right, you guys, welcome back to eXp Family Tree Training. Gosh, we've been doing this training for 3 years as of October. When we first started, we were doing weekly trainings, and then we realized that was probably a lot because your brains can only consume so much information, but we had great speakers. All of that is out on my YouTube channel. If you go ahead and just put my name in YouTube, you'd be able to go back and watch all of those. And then we had moved it to kind of a more monthly thing, which is pretty much what we do now, monthly or every other month. As I meet people that I believe would bring you guys value in your business, I just bring them here to you, both live stream and live via Zoom. And then of course, put it all out on my YouTube so that you can watch it later. And I had been introduced to David by a mutual friend, actually somebody in the business I've known for lots of years. In fact, she was a coach with me when I owned the coaching company. And so I'm grateful that we had this conversation. It's interesting because as you guys know, or some of you know, my husband, Chris, and I are actually living on a 5-acre parcel right now that we are in the process of developing into new construction, into a residential development, selling those lots to builders. So it'll be a new construction development. And we did one of these about 2 years ago as well. This one we're doing together without business partners. So we took the leap of faith and moved on the property to make it happen. And so, you know, we're very much in tune to what is happening in the market when it comes to lack of inventory in a lot of areas, the ability to get into new construction, sometimes even more affordably these days than some of the existing, just based on home prices, builders being willing and able to do incentives or buy downs of rates, and just some opportunities that new construction presents. And so when we, you know, my husband and I want to do developments, obviously this is for, you know, wealth building opportunities in retirement. But it also helps us to control the inventory because now we're going to have 16 new construction properties that we're going to be able to list. And so, you know, that's kind of how David and I started talking, is understanding kind of the opportunities in this. But he does a ton of things that I think is going to be interesting to you. I know some of you work in new construction already. Some of you want that maybe to be a bigger part of your business and just want to hone your skills. But I'm going to give a quick little bio of David, and then I'm going to let him take it away. So David began working in construction right out of high school for his dad's framing company, and that is in the state of Washington. So he learned how to frame homes and, you know, work in all the weather conditions, and of course, started to realize that he was working hand in hand with builders and gleaning a lot of construction knowledge. So at age 18, he created a vision for his future and turned his attention to real estate sales. In 2005, he secured his real estate license. He didn't really know anything about prospecting. So as he was driving around town calling every phone number on every real estate sign you could find, brokers, developers, the county, the banks, he didn't matter who published the sign, he would call. That's how his journey into sales began. And once he began calling on community developers, that's when he realized that this could really elevate his dream. And he decided to go put his name on real estate signs and build new communities. And now David is not only developing new communities, he's also servicing small and large builders alike. He claims he didn't know what he was doing back then. He still doesn't always know what he's doing now, but deals come together. And herein lies the wisdom in his success, which is you don't have to know everything, but you have to take action on what you do know. And he encourages others to be curious and to grow their knowledge. And he likes to help people do that in the real estate industry. So I'm super excited to hear from David, and I have spent some time together. So I'm excited for you all to hear from David. And so David, you've got the floor. Go ahead and, you know, go through your slides, fill in the blanks if I missed anything, but thanks again for being here today.
Hey, Cari, thank you very much to have, and I'm just excited to be here and just talk real estate, right? That's what we do for a living.
Right.
So yes, and thank you for the introduction. I have been in the industry for about 20 years now, almost 1,500 plus transactions, and just moving forward, grinding it through. And the markets change, and I really like, you know, Keller Williams book, The Shift, where it talks about the market's always shifting on us. And I think all of us brokers are feeling that shift. And I would say in the last 6 years, we've had a handful of shifts that took place in almost nationally and then everybody's local market. And one of the shifts that did take place, and we've been watching our data locally here and then nationally, is that the national influx of new homes has gone up percentage-wise as a market share. And you know, when we spoke with you, whether it's in Boise, Idaho, whether it's in Washington, whether it's in Oregon or California, it doesn't matter. But the national stats went from about 8%, which used to be new homes market share, to about 15 to 18%. So any broker that I talk to nationally and I talk about new homes, they see it in their market. They see that inventory is short. They see that um, expansions of countries, counties is happening, and the only way that they could fill demand is by building new homes. That's number one. Number two is, with rates coming up, the best buy for the buck for the payment is, what is offered by builders with buy downs and interest rates and all of this. And we even see it locally here. And then you also see the whole aspect of national builders versus local builders. And I think it's across the country where national builders have a huge market share and a market say in whatever market they're at. So taking all those stats, just really quickly debriefing, all of us brokers have to understand that when market share changes and the market changes, we can fight the market or we can shift with the market. And this is why, like, I'm talking, we're trying to raise awareness for the brokers that the market has changed and the shift has taken place. And yes, you could still pursue expireds, FISBOs, resale, but you will be pushed to learn new home sales because it's such a huge market share now. And the simple example I give, I mean, I was here when we had the '08 crash, and you were here and other people were here. Like, brokers didn't like doing short sales or bankruptcies or any of that, but they had to because the market share, spoke for itself. The market share said that there's a lot of people in foreclosure, there's a lot of people losing their houses, and the brokers need to learn how to service that sector of the industry. Well, it's the same thing in new home sales now. Brokers have to learn how to service their clients, builders, developers in that sector because that sector has such a huge market share. Another stats, and then I'll go through my slides, but another stats is, if you take the fix and flip industry, and we've talked about this, and then you take the new home sector, the new home sector is a publicly traded, companies at Wall Street. I mean, it's in the billions and in the trillions of dollars. I mean, the fix and flips, I mean, there's a couple companies that try to go public on the fix and flip, but they can't even come close to, the thousands of homes that are built every year, new homes that are coming into the industry. Like, it's not even comparable. And this is what brokers have to realize, where there's a lot of money flow, there's a lot of opportunity. So, the saying goes, follow the money, right? What happens if you follow the money and you just tag yourself, somehow you eventually make money also. If you work with higher net worth clients, you're going to make more money. Why? Because they're going to buy more expensive homes, and we're in a percentage based industry. That means you're making more money doing the same thing. So if you look at new homes as a whole sector, there's just so much more money flowing through that whole industry than, I would say, other sectors of the industry. So it's important for us brokers, to really understand what's in the market, how we need to service those clients, how we need to even service buyers or sellers who are moving into that sector. But that's why, we came up with the whole concept. When I started to look nationally on training in new home sales, I saw that there's just a deficit. Like, very few people talk about it. Very few people have enough knowledge about it. Very few people understand the processes or the transaction flow, because that's how we make money as brokers, through transactions, and how to facilitate these deals, like the art of the deal, right? When we call expireds, we know how to get a person from expired to a listing to a sold. When we talk to a FISBO, we kind of have a concept. But when we talk about, hey, go help this client build their dream home, we have a huge disconnect. When we say, oh, here's 5 acres, in 3 years, it's going to become 16 lots, brokers have a disconnect. They don't know how to help move that file forward. And that's where our training is. Powered by Ground is helping brokers move the transaction from whatever stage it is to the next stage, to, the next stage until you have final product. So a little bit about me. You could see it more on our website, Powered by Ground. This is our training and coaching platform that we help brokers. We talked a little bit about vision. So our vision is that more and more brokers would overlap their businesses in new home sales. And another stats is whether it's a buyer or a seller, the chances is if there is a new subdivision in your community or in your zip code, 70%, and this is a National Association of Realtor stats, 70% of those buyers or sellers will visit that model home in that zip code if there's a new community. They will visit it. They want to see out of even curiosity, or they just want to see the new homes or what this new community has as amenities and features. But what they're saying is your sellers and your buyers, whether it's a move up seller or a down, they're downgrading, they will visit that model home just to look at it. So if you just think about that, that means, 70% of your database will visit a new home, whatever the fact, they will visit a new home site because they just want to see, everything about that new community. So that is our vision, that more and more brokers understand that this is a very strong carrot in your marketing. This is a very strong carrot for the momentum. This is a very strong carrot as knowledge base. So I talk to our brokers here at the company that I'm at. I'm gonna say, if you take any zip code 98662, for example, in Washington, Southwest Washington, and two subdivisions in this zip code, and then you talk to your clients who are looking to buy in that zip code, the 70% chance that they will visit that model home, whether they tell you or not. So guess what? You better visit that model home. Because when you're talking to your client, you better drop that to them. Hey, you know what? On whatever, 99th Street, there's a new home community. Let's go check it out. You have to drop that because your clients will be there. So let's see how much more and more we could overlap in the area of new homes. We talked about this is just a pie, but we talk about new homes resale and distressed. But new homes market share is growing more and more in every sector. You have national builders, you have local builders. These are all things brokers have to start studying because the market share is growing. There's a market demand. So I mean, we've only been training about a year and a half in our office here, and the amount of brokers that have willfully decided to, go into that space have cultivated transaction. We did a symposium here where we brought in builders, developers, investors. We had like 12 builders on a panel, and we had 100 brokers in the room. Out of just that meeting, the symposium that we did, I think we cultivated like 15 transactions just out of one symposium because we brought the builder, the developer, the broker all in one room, and they're like, "Oh, I got a buyer. Do you got a seller? Oh, I got a piece of dirt. Can you do this?" So like just bringing people together already cultivated the transactions. So there is a market demand a lot higher than we often think about. There's higher commissions, whether if you take your local market or national, new homes sell higher than resale. They do. And our market's almost, anywhere from, depends on the product line, lower, medium, or high end. It could be anywhere from like, $80,000 to $200,000 in difference. The reason? People buy new. People want a new dishwasher, a new range, new carpet, new floors, new paint. People are willing to pay for a new roof. I mean, people are willing to pay for new. So there's higher commissions. And then there's customization options. And this is where I think new homes always, when you take even our parade of homes that's being done, and I talked to this to the builders, in our parade of homes, like I think last year we had like 6,000 people come through. And the reason is, people look at whatever they saw at the parade and they go, you know what? I want my bathroom to look like that. They say, I want my kitchen appliance to look like that. Oh, I didn't know, there's this cool new feature on the garage door opener. But I'm just saying, like, oh, I didn't know you can do this, right? So, like, there's so much more customization options that the new homes keeps offering to the market that people take it back into resale. So why new homes? I think it's such a huge carrot um, in our sales pitches that we do to our clients that we cannot miss it anymore. So in our presentations, whether it's a buyer or a seller, we have to start dropping the concept of new home sales. It has to start to go into our presentation somewhere along the line. We can no longer be like, oh, it just doesn't exist. It does exist. And it's a bigger market share nationally and locally in a lot of places. So our training, last year we rolled out our first Kickstart course training. I think it's about 5 hours of me talking about all these sectors, why new home sales, the engine, exposure to the greater market, culture creates opportunity, prospecting, levels of development, and categories of new home sales. You can find this Kickstart course and you can buy it on our website on Powered by Ground that I also dropped in the link. But this is a Kickstart course, and this is what thing Cari said, like they used to do once a week and now they're doing kind of once a month. And I believe this is like the first initial step that most brokers need to step in. They need to start to create awareness just for themselves, and then they have to start to get educated at least to some level. They say just in sales, you have to learn about 20% of product before you can comfortably sell it. If you want to comfortably sell new homes, you gotta learn product. You gotta learn pre-sales versus new homes. You gotta learn specs. You gotta learn, what the tile is, what the paint is, what the carpet is. You have to learn a little bit of product to sell it. You have to understand packages, right? The medium, package, the lower end package, the higher end package. But learning and then slowly starting to integrate it into your business at whatever level you want to integrate it. But this is our first approach, and then we're going to be doing a master class where we're actually taking every single category that you're seeing here to about a 2-hour course where we're really starting to, I mean, we have a YouTube channel. There's a lot of training. I've been doing training that we've been recording and posting on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. So we'll send those links over to you. But growing awareness is how we will eventually, transition our business. And again, for some of you, it might be just one transaction a month or maybe a year, right? For others, for like myself, where 95% of my business is just new home sales. Everybody's going to have their journey. But what I'm saying is, the more I speak about it in our office, the more transactions brokers are making in this space. And it's amazing. It's really amazing. Like I had a guy who didn't do anything in new home space, and then like last year he sold 35 lots to a national and he walked away almost with 50K in commissions. I mean, there's just, I can keep talking to you about how when you start cultivating this, in your own business, you slowly start to make more and more and more sales in the space of new homes. So guided education, you have to start listening and learning more. I know even Bigger Pockets, I think recently, end of last year, I haven't listened to it, but I know Bigger Pockets, who is a fix and flip company or a training and networking, they started to talk about new home space, starting as of last quarter, because they understood like, this is such a huge sector. We need to start talking about it, whether it's for investors, whether it's for builders and so forth. So this is a space that we have to keep talking about. This is a space where brokers need to get educated and move forward. Engage in your community. You have to start engaging in the new home sales at whatever level. Go to networking events, go to BAA, go to, the national builders in Vegas once a year, but slowly start to understand how all of this is a complement, to your resale business. And then transactional partnerships. Here locally, we're involved in assisting and coaching and training and consulting, whether it's solo teams or owner operators. Right now, I run our Keller Williams New Home division here in Southwest Washington. We just launched this division a year ago because we believe like, it needs to scale all the way to a company level, not just a solo or a team. And that's what we're doing. We're just infiltrating the whole company in the aspect of new home sales. And a lot of teams are slowly merging in that direction. A lot of solo brokers. Last year, one of our rookies for the year as a solo broker was a new home sales. I mean, we took the roster for all the top producing companies in Southwest Washington. In our market, it's a lot higher. It's about 33% that new home sales kind of runs the market. But I mean, all the top owner operator companies, it was a true reflection. 1/3 of transactions in Southwest Washington were new home sales last year. 1/3. And I don't know what it is for your market, but you have to make that analytical. You have to understand. So whether you're a solo or team or owner operator on this training, all of us have to start thinking how we're going to integrate into that space. Move with the market. I know it's a little bit repetitive, but move with the market momentum, and the return on the investment is really high when you invest where the market is at. So, and this is why I talk about the pie of real estate, new homes, resale, distressed. Look at your market stats for 2024. If in your market, 20% is new homes or 15% is new homes, say it's 20%. That means 1 out of 5 transactions was a new home sales. If it's national level, like say 18%, but that's still really close. It's 1 out of 5. That means if you did, 10 transactions, there's a high chance 2 of them could have been new home sales, which is a very high percentage. But can you imagine if you learned more about that space? Like you can move with the market. And a lot of brokers, I think, were late a little bit to the game because before COVID, the market share was less. And then after COVID, it just jumped up. And a lot of brokers were not ready for that transition, meaning they were still focusing on resale, but then, people do not want to give up their 2 and 3 and 4% interest rates. And now, we're stuck with very short inventory to move buyers or whatever in our market. So move in the market directions. Make sure you study your market and see where the momentum is, even for zip codes. Some zip codes in your market will do better new home sales than others. And then your return on investment. And we've talked with this with Cari. So like on the buyer side, it's very important. And on the seller side, it's very important. And if eventually you get, small builders or whatever that want to build, the return on investment is really phenomenal because a lot of builder partners that I've worked with, they build one house, then they want to do 2 homes, then they want to do 5 homes. Meaning it's a lot of returning clients on the seller side. And on the division level, we want to go even bigger, hold even bigger accounts. But even if you start one, I have one broker here, he only works with one investor. And the guy fixed and flipped 2 homes, then 5 homes, and they got all the way up to where they were fixing and flipping 40 homes. And I met with him and I told him like 5 years ago, I go, you know what, the fix and flip business is great, but you have to go into new home sales. You have. And like for 5 years, I've been dripping on him. And like 2 years ago, that him and his investor, they bought a plat. And he's like, yeah, there's not enough inventory to fix and flip. That's why they went into new homes. And now they're going to do like a 25 home community. And the investors move into that space, and they have to move into that space because that is basically where they can truly turn their money. So how do I start as a solo broker? And if you're on this training and you're just a solo broker, you can start by buying a Kickstart course. You can reach out to us and see regarding guiding coaching. You should check out our, Powered by Ground communities. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Just learn product, learn about the builders that are in your community. Go drive these communities. Talk to the salespeople in these sales offices. Start talking to them about product, about subdivisions, how they do rollouts, do they do interest buy downs, learn process, figure out, how they start a community, why they started like this, ask a lot of questions, and then use that as a carrot to take back to your buyer or your buyer pool and so forth. And then learn lead generation and the concept of new home sales. One of a broker here locally. She's a great YouTuber, and she gets a lot of her buyers. I think she did like 45 or 50 as a solo broker on the buyer side. And when I started to follow her on YouTube, because I met with her many times and I told her the same thing, you have to start doing new home communities, new homes, anything, and throw it out on your YouTube. And what's interesting, after I met with her like 2 years ago and I started to tell her about it, her YouTube channel started to change, meaning she started to go out there and do interviews with on-site salespeople, interviews with communities, and so forth. And I mean, it's just a phenomenal carrier for lead generating, and she does really, really well because she's informing the public of what they already know, but she's saying, I am your point of contact. I am your specialist. And that's what, as a solo broker, you have to come across. And you guys say, oh, you want new homes? I got it all. Just come to me. I'll show you what's happening in the communities. And that's what she started to do. And, the public, they want to just find information. And if you're the one pitching them the information, they're not going to go anywhere else. But the reasons a lot of brokers lose out business to builders is because they're not a resource in that space. They can't provide the information. Go ahead, Cari. You want to say?
Yeah, so there's just a couple of things on this that I think are really good to highlight. And I have helped many of my coaching clients do this, is if you don't represent a builder right now, and there are some on the call that do and some that don't yet, couple things is you can still, to David's point, become the known expert for all things new construction, even if you aren't the listing agent. So going into all of the models, asking permission to do videos for social media content, 99.9% of the time, they're going to say yes, they want the marketing out there for their product. Just getting into those, building the relationships with the listing agent, particularly if it's a larger, newer development. Many of those are real estate agents that are part of the builder's brokerage. In other words, they can't even do sales outside of it. So I've actually gotten referrals from those agents before by building the rapport and bringing as many buyers to them as possible. So doing content, understanding all the communities, the differences, the square foot number, like what is the dollar per square foot of these different builders and why, what is their time to build, what lots are available, and really spending that time educating yourself. The most important thing though, is if you're going to educate yourself, is you've got to share it with the public. So whether you're doing YouTube videos or just social media posts, and getting them all of that information, you're going to become known as that go-to person. So I love that. And there's a lot of opportunity for you to potentially partner with some of the larger builders. Now, the smaller and regional builders, if you're still doing that with them, the cool thing is if you're working really hard and you're out there doing all of the social media posting and you're educating the consumer about all the new construction in the area, including their property, I have actually had some of my business partners be reached out to by builders in their area to say, I'd like to talk with you. You do more marketing for my property than my current real estate agent does, as just an agent out in the market. And I want to see how we could partner together because I love your marketing. So it opens the door. Obviously, you can't cross lines if they are represented by another agent. However, if you're just out there trying to get buyers for these properties, for your own business, it is going to impact those builders and they're going to see that as well. So not only are you drawing attention from the consumer in your area, you're drawing attention, quite frankly, by the builders and the developers. And so if this is an area that you want to move into, education is, as David said, is first, and then getting that education and that marketing out there is second, because you will attract the attention of many people. So what about, David, I'm curious as a question. So,
Yes.
how do you go about, if you're an agent, just, finding some of these developers, maybe being able to even bring developers to properties if you find an off-market piece of land, or even going to landowners and saying, hey, have you thought about selling? And going to developers and saying, hey, have you thought about buying? Because it kind of puts you in that space where now you're finding property for developers, which could then also help you to be introduced to builders, depending upon those relationships with developers. And I found that that's a really good way to integrate yourself into the new construction and potentially insert yourself in. If you start to want to invest, you could also look for land yourself. You could learn the development process, and then you could go find builders to purchase those lots from you, and you could require in the sale as just part of the negotiations that you're going to be the listing agent on those properties, which is what my husband and I do. So I'm just trying to kick around ideas for those on this call and watching the ways that we can really leverage those relationships. Do you have any insight to that, David?
So how it works is the higher, I guess, the tier. So we talk about brokers, builders, developers, investors. Those are
Mhm.
kind of the tiers of build up. So on the broker builder or broker new homes, there's more transactions, but the higher the tier, the less transaction flow. So meaning if you're a solo broker, and that's why I started talking about solos, you want to start at the bottom, just focus on selling that home for that builder, just focusing on getting as many buyers or view counts, or like you do a YouTube clip and you get 1,000 views and then you send it to that builder and you're like, you know what? Your community just got 500 views from my buyer pool. Those drips that you're doing on that builder is very crucial because that's your kind of first gate entry. It's like, when it's like Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, right? They talk about, starting working with buyers or starting to work with sellers. They're saying to bridge working with sellers just costs a lot more money. So the higher you go, it does cost more money on operations. But you're servicing the builders first. Then the builders, once they sell a home, guess what? They want to build another home. So they start to ask you to become, I call the land acquisition person. They're saying, hey, can you find me land? But because now you're talking to other builders in the community, usually other builders will offset lots from their communities. So there's always the A, B, and C lots in any community. There's the A lot that's prime, the Bs and the Cs. And some builders, when they float a community, they'll sometimes get rid of their Bs and C lots. So this is a phenomenal opportunity for you to take a small builder and place him in a B or C lot and work that transaction. But once a builder says, hey, I want bigger projects or this is where you move into the space of developers.
Mhm.
We're talking more on the single family, but we can talk about inner city development. The processes are the same, the product is different. That's about it. But when you move into the sphere of developers, now you're working with people who are bringing utilities, infrastructure, all of this to that site. And whatever they do with that site, whether it's townhomes, condos, or single family residential, the developer in the city planners figure out. But there's less of those transactions in the market because you're taking a single lot and you're increasing transaction flow, you're increasing density, you're increasing product. So for brokers, that's why I say it's easier to enter where there's a lot of transaction flows, but then you move your way up. And then you go into the developer space and then you go into the investor space. I say the investors are those who pay for everything but don't want to swing a hammer. That's why they have the money, right? So they're called investors. So every county, every community, I've built in other sectors of state of Washington have these tiers. There's the investor pool, there's the developer pool, the builder pool, and then the broker pool. So for all solo brokers, I would highly recommend starting, with the builder pool and then focus on selling their inventory. And again, dropping names like Mike Ferry and Tom Ferry, I've gone through a lot of training. And the crazy thing is the minute they have a section in their like the whole training, say it's a whole day, and they have like a marketing section, they always market new homes. And like when you sit in their training on marketing and they talk about marketing, they always market new homes because it's the highest ROI, return on investment for your marketing dollar, period. Like this is what the market demands. So if you're a team, I mean, say you have it's you, your admin, or you and 20 other people under your team. It's important to, I will have the master class hopefully rolled out this year, but it's important to get the master class because it's a whole other development that you're trying to achieve in your team. Meaning, like if you have a team and you're running the team and you say have 5 people, probably one or two of those will eventually become new home specialists, and then the others will say focus on resale. But that's the team cultivation that you have to start doing. You have to start taking your whole team and understanding that new homes has to become a great participation of your team and transaction flow. So you have to, in your team as a team leader, start cultivating this. Say, hey, you know what? This is what the market's truly at. We have to be participators in new homes because this is who wants to jump into that space. And you slowly start working with your team players and figuring out who really is in line for that and in that space. Business planning is very crucial in our business strategy and our business planning. We have to focus about new homes. We just have to. And like we'll talk, the next slide is about kind of company ownership, kind of what we're doing on a division level. But business planning is very crucial. Then learning how to solve problems, focusing on lead flow, data, scripts, and sales. This year, our goal is to have probably about 20 to 25 different scripts. How do you talk to builders? How do you talk to salespeople? How do you talk to developers? How do you talk to investors? So we are going to make that a resource on our site. We're slowly building that up to provide all these services. And then the goal is to eventually become a new home specialist, meaning you're always talking about it. It's part of your life, it's part of your script, it's part of your business, period. And it's interesting. I talked to a business developer. He's like, what's so unique about brokers? I was like, what? You guys are like salespeople, you eventually become like not just humans, you're like selling all the time. He's like, you're selling all the time. I was like, yeah, one of my sales trainers says everything's up for sale except my wife and my kids, right? Like, I mean, we as brokers just sell all the time. So this is what you have to start to say, like, new homes is the whole thing. Like, hey, did you know BAA had, 6,000 people go through it? Why don't you show up there? I'll buy your ticket, right? Like, you just want to like push and push and push this. Like, oh, there's this new model home. They got 50 homes. Let's go take a look at. It doesn't matter if they buy or not, but you want to keep pushing that. Oh, we're going to be crossing Fifth Street and there's two communities. By the time we show the other home, let's just drive this community and talk about it. But you want to constantly, I call it, always be selling, ABS, always be selling. You want to become that resource where buyers and sellers, say on the market, understand. As a team player, you want to be that resource as a team leader for your brokers who are underneath you to be that resource. Hey, can you help me with this? Yes. Can you help me with the pre-sale? Can you help me with the spec? Can you help me with this? So you have to slowly, drip this on your team and allow your team to start cultivating these transactions. And then training companies, whether you're listening to this and you're a company owner, whether you're a small company owner or a big one, um, in those who have mentored me, and I've been mentoring people, those who have applied new homes to their, so I'll give you an example. Across the river in Portland, Oregon, the biggest team, the biggest transactions, the biggest everything, record holder is a guy, a Keller Williams broker who runs a new home company, period. He's the biggest. So when I look at our market, the top producing brokers are intertwined in new home sales. There's no way you can be on top without having this part of your company. There's no way if you want to have a company in your area and you want to be at the top, you have to have new homes. There's no alternative. You have to embrace it and you have to build it. So division training, the reason we call it division is because title companies have a division in new home sales. I've talked to national and local. Lenders have a new home sales division. The craziest thing is brokers never had a new home sale division. So two of our supporting partners in our industry have it, and then we never have it. So this is why we're breaking it in as a whole concept. You have to have the division in your company level. Then you have to create a company culture. This is why we do the symposiums. This is why we do it once a month in our all partner meetings at Keller Williams. I'm talking about it. And I'm telling you, like, brokers come with me. Hey, David, I have this. What do I do with it? I was like, boom, a transaction. Let's go after it. Oh, I have this. What do we do with it? So, like, I'm helping brokers move through these transactions so they could truly get paid. Team building is very crucial to integrate it. If you're in a company, to help teams integrate it within their concepts of business development. It's a lot of B2B. So if you're an owner operator, and I know maybe there's less of you here, we maybe have a lot of solo brokers and then team brokers, but As an owner operator, you're in business development, meaning you're building B2B businesses. So Cari and I are B2B relationship. She's not a customer to me. We're in B2B. So how much greater is it to build up builders businesses, investors businesses, developers businesses, and broker businesses? Meaning you're already doing the B2B, might as well integrate yourself in helping other sectors of the market also. Network and symposiums. There's a handful of national networks like the BIA, Builders Industry Association, and there's probably a handful of local, networking. Pull up all those networking events and start going to them. And then if you're a company owner, create your own symposium. Bring in 4 builders and just have them talk. And right now we're creating our, I'll say, a vendor list, or of all the broker-friendly builders, developers, investors in town. So that's what I really call it, the broker-friendly, meaning they are really willing to bridge it with the broker community, and they understand the value that the brokers are bringing to their business. And it's going to be so much easier to build that bridge once there's a broker-friendly list of builders and developers. And guess what? Man, as a division, running the division, builders want to be on that list. They're asking
Mhm.
like, David, what do I do to, be in front of your brokers? They want to be on that list. Broker retention is higher because you're providing solutions to their problems. And brokers need help with marketing. Brokers like solos and teams. Brokers need a lot of assistance in, education. And because the market share is so high, your brokers will come with questions in the concept of new home space. They just will. And then lead monetization. We talk a lot about lead development, and as a company as a whole, it's so easy to just get that roster of 50 builders that are in your community, your 20 developers, your 15 investors, and take that list, and those are who are broker friendly. Have your brokers now start visiting or talking to these people. So there's a company here. When I took over the division, I just made a list. These would be the greatest partners, to partner in our community. And I just made a list of like 5 builders. Well, a year and a half later, we're working with 3 of them because they want sales, And if we're bringing them sales, whether they want to sell a lot or buy, like they want us to be a participator of their transaction flow. And I'm like, all day long, I'm in. I want to be part of your transaction flow at whatever level, whether it's a listing or a buyer side or whatever. So what I'm saying is make that list of, 3 builders or 4 developers or whatever and start working. I mean, one of the biggest developers in town was on that list. And we're already, talking to him about other projects. So, and I mean, we got companies, and I bet it depends on how big your market is. We got guys who, build 200 doors a year, and their land acquisitions are calling me and asking me, like, David, like, let's sit down, let's talk. I mean, we want your brokers, if they have a 20-acre parcel, to bring it to us first. And I'm like, oh, finally we're talking, right? Finally, you see the reason you need brokers because we're just phenomenal salespeople, and we cultivate. And once we have that cultivation with the person who has 5 acres or 2 acres or whatever, and they want to do something with it, of course you want us to bridge it with you. Absolutely. So it's a phenomenal lead training. Just a solo, team, and then company level. So we're training on all levels, and that is the goal, to train brokers at all levels because the market share is too big for us to miss out on the opportunity and miss out on the transactions. So if you're a solo broker, buy our Kickstart course, go through it. If you feel like you want, coaching, consulting, reach out to us. We can figure out, customize the best package for you. If you want us to be involved in like 3 or 4 transactions with you and you want to we figure out a referral structure so we participate in the transaction with you. And then on transaction 5, if you're like, I got this figured out, then it's great, green light, you just run with your business. If you need us for, 100 transactions, we're open for that. But most of our goal is to become partners at any level and figure out that partnership and see how we can grow your business, a B2B business together, and use all the stepping stones that are needed. We do a lot of our own data grinding for our own market. We could show you, how maybe you could do it for your market and eventually learn all the data. But I'm telling you, if you go sit down with just a title company that has new homes as division there, and you spend maybe, a couple hours with them, you could really understand, the playing field of your market really fast. If you go talk to like 5 loan officers who all they do is new home sales, and you talk about their transaction flow, I mean, just between those two divisions, you will have such a phenomenal experience about how to enter that space. I mean, we just had the regional from US Bank call us, and she's like, I want to work with you in your division. I mean, everybody's reaching out to us because they understand the transaction flow is there. You can't miss out on that opportunity. So we're here to help. We're here to partner. If you need us for one session, we're great to sit down, look at your market, do some analysis, get back to you, and figure out a good strategy for you to be a participator, or if you're a company owner and you want to scale, and just what we're doing here and our office here at Keller Williams, I mean, we're more excited to talk about how we can grow that market share so that market share could become part of your business. Any
Awesome.
questions?
Yeah, so let's open up for questions. So I was talking a little bit with David about what he's doing in his market. Obviously, Chris and I have a couple of new construction developments going here in our local area. So as we've talked to some of our local people like Fred, it's going to be a great opportunity to be sitting in those models and do those videos and get the social media out there. Because what I really liked, what I heard, is how many people are looking at the new construction developments, whether they are in the market to buy or not. It attracts people's attention. They want to know, like, oh, there's a new development coming up. There's there's a new community. No matter what, they want to know about that. So if you're looking to draw the attention of your following, of your sphere, and of people in your community, these are the places to go. And you do not have to be the listing agent to go take advantage of that. So many times they're very, very willing for you to go in there and do Facebook Lives and do videos and all of that, because it only helps them push their neighborhood as well. I love the idea of, even just going to creating an event in your local area, get together with, maybe some others and bring in some builders, bring in some developers, bring in some people from those new communities. Chris and I are going to be doing that up here in Q1, and then be active in that. If you have a local association of builders, which we do in our area, you can join and become a member. There is usually a cost to that, but they do events all the time where you can be mingling with people, hearing what's going on, educating yourself, and now bringing that information to the forefront of your community through social media, through email campaigns, through whatever means you reach out to your database. So all of that is really, really good information. I like the data mining. If it's something that you're interested in, kind of learning more about what's upcoming, learning more about the data. Yes, your title company is going to be a great place. Also, of course, your MLS. And so all of that is really, really good information. So I think if you have any takeaways from this, it's understanding how much new construction impacts your local market no matter what, and how it draws the attention of the consumer, and how you should insert yourself and start to show yourself as an expert, because I think it will open doors of opportunity for you with some of these builders that maybe are finding out that their agent isn't actually as engaged as they thought, but you are. And I have seen that happen over and over again in different markets where people have become really, really intentional about this. I'm curious to know, let me see who, I think Amber had to leave the call. So I was going to ask Amber if she had any comments, because Amber does about 40 or 50 new construction homes every single year in her market in North Carolina, but I think she had to pop off. So anybody have any questions for David? And I'm looking on the live stream as well. So if you guys are watching us live and you have questions, just chat underneath the live stream, please. Anyone here on the Zoom call have ideas or thoughts? Yeah, Dana.
Hi, this is awesome. Thank
Hi.
you, Cari. You always bring such valuable information with your business partners. Thank you, David. This is amazing. I'm in South Carolina and new construction is booming. So I definitely would like to take advantage of the Kickstart education because I am functioning as a solo agent here. And I also specialize in relocation, and a lot of people are hearing about South Carolina, and I think you get, as you said, more bang for your buck. People like the, things to add, base price, and then you work your way up.
Mhm.
I think I need to work on my social media. I've done tons of content at these new builders and these new communities. I think it's just a matter of posting the content.
Yeah.
That's where I
That's
always
great.
kind of have
Well,
a
the good news
breakdown.
is if you have it all saved, Dana, you can just create a calendar of this is how I'm going to post that content, how I'm going to repurpose it. And if you want to set a call with me, I can absolutely help you with that. And if you just set a calendar, like I'm going to post these two things this week, and then you can get a whole month's, content out of the stuff that you've already done, which is possible because you can do faceless reels, you can sell on stories. There's a bunch of things that you can do. So just keep taking the photos and the videos and then gather the information, know the differences, what builders are giving what incentives,
Mhm.
what's special about this development, make those notes. And then that's the kind of stuff that you can push out on social. And the great thing is if you're not good at like video on social, you guys can do things where you're posting a video of a new construction, maybe the new sign at the beginning, maybe a quick walkthrough of one of their
B-rolls.
models, and you can just put information in that post. You can do a voiceover. You don't even have to talk.
Mhm.
There's a lot
Mhm.
of ways you can use social
Mhm.
media without having to like actually sit on camera and be, looking at yourself, where a lot of people are less comfortable with that. So just gathering the information, taking the photos and taking the videos, I think is the first start. And then you can go and repurpose that content. So that's a great idea. That'd be a good goal for you for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
Awesome.
then you can a lot of guys who do the photos for listings, they can do video and they do B-rolls, and like you just
Mm-hmm.
like Carrie says, you don't have to be on the face. You could be just, a quick introduction. Hi, my name's Dana, and then, here's the community, come check out this place, and then you're cut out, and then they just do a huge, B-roll and you push that. But yeah, pushing that. And I'm telling you, like the solo broker who just got on social and just started to push all new home community stuff, man, her phone started to blow up. That's it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, people just want to know, period.
Yeah, I agree. It's what David's telling us is we need to post the content that people want. And there's a lot of proof that people are interested in new construction or in new
Mm-hmm.
communities or what's going on with builders, particularly in some areas where you have a big migration pattern. Dana, you have people moving to your area. Fred, we have people moving to our area, and they do tend to attract new construction. Just having that content out there more available, I think is good. Fred, were you going to share something or ask a question?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find the raise hand button. My question is, and I think you touched on it a little bit, but when you're just getting started and in new construction, who should be your primary form of contact to try and build those relationships? Is it the builder, the listing agent? Like, where is the best place to kind of start? Because yeah.
So be very I guess be picky, and I think the easiest bridge to build is if you have that concept of they're broker friendly. That would be probably number one. If they're a broker friendly kind of company and all of that. Number two is if they have a salesperson is, their first point of contact. Absolutely. So you want to squeeze as much in. That's part of the scripts that we're going to be selling online and everything is you take that questionnaire and you just go and you're like, hey, you know what? I want to talk to you, about this community, and just go down that questionnaire and ask them everything about it. And then, and then it's like your builder, like everywhere where you start networking, you start to, talk to builders, developers, investors. I know it's a little intimidating, when you begin, just like, your first seller presentation. I mean, your hands shake, you're like, you stutter, you forget your script and all of that, right? And that's why I always say, just be like a doctor, take a clipboard, put that script on there and just, bang it out. Like, what's your fever? When's the last time you ate? When the last time you're not sleeping? Like, just go through the questionnaire, right? Like a doctor, and that's it. But you have to do that so you can first, as a salesperson, can overcome, working and the whole intimidation thing, right? Like, oh, I can't do it. No, you can do it because everybody started like that. So that's kind of how I think, like, I started off, like Cari said, I just drove around town, and any public sign that had a number, I just called it. And they're like, what are you calling about? I was like, you guys got a sign up. What's going on here? And some people will be like, like, call me back, and then I'll call them back. But like, I met some of my best developer buddies over the years because I just drove around town and just like, well, this is public information. You got to sign up. I guess you're doing something. Tell me what you're doing here. So.
Yep. Yeah, I think, be cautious not to contact builders directly if they're represented by another agent, because you're crossing lines if they're represented, Fred. However, that doesn't mean you can't go in and ask them questions about their product. You can still be curious as a real estate agent, bringing buyers to them to gather the information. You just have to be really cautious of how you're doing that. But I love, like, when there's development signs out there, for land that they're developing and those lots are for sale, calling them. I love that idea. David was just calling to gather the information. Who knows? Maybe you could find a builder that wants to purchase those and you'd get paid for that, even if you're not representing the builder. So I think it's just about making those connections. You're not afraid to make those calls. So just reaching out, calling and seeing what's going on and saying, I just want to know what's going on. And, I'm talking to a lot of different people. So maybe I can bring some people together here, or just know what's happening in the market. And people like that. And who knows, they start talking and you start building relationships, and the rest is history. Obviously, you have Chris and I to lean on to here locally. If you have questions, or if you find something out, let us know and we can jump in and help. And you can learn a lot that way. But I loved that. I love that you just started picking up the phone and calling, because there is a lot of opportunities in most markets with new construction, land development, things popping up, new signs. You don't even know a new community is going up, and all of a sudden a development sign goes up. So are you making that move, and are you picking up the phone and calling those people? A lot of agents won't do it. But I think it's well worth it. And that's the business to business sales. That's a little bit easier for some people than going direct to the consumer as well. I think it's easy to call a developer. They're just a business person. Hey, I'm a local real estate agent. I focus a lot on new construction. I'm out here working. I want to know what's going on. Do you have these lots sold? What are you trying to do? Who are you trying to sell them to? And then guess what? You can get out there amongst your sphere and start talking about, I found out about this property. Does anybody want to purchase them? So it's all about what and then getting it out there and seeing who that might want to have that information and making those connections. So great advice, David. All of the information.
Cari and I, we want to be here as a huge resource for sure. Yeah. So if you have questions here or afterwards, but like, our goal is just to push this as much as we can, because I know there's money to be made, and I've done all the studies on broker businesses that those brokers who have been in this space, have risen to the top.
I agree. Dana, I think it's going to be a huge opportunity for you to grow your business where you are. I definitely know that having this as a sector of your business here in this market where we are, it's very important. And I think for the most part, whatever market you're in, gather that data and look at that and see how that helps you, and maybe spend a little bit more time. I think there's a lot of people that think I'm not the person that represents the builder, so I just don't even think about it. And there's so much you can leverage, because that's a product for sale on the market, and that's a community that you should know about. And so just leverage that to get out there and find your own clients. And the more you start bringing people to builders, the more the builders are like, who is this person bringing me all these clients? And so you'll see how it starts to. That's how I ended up finding a builder, because I was just out there and he ended up finding me hustling and asked if he could talk to us. And I ended up representing a builder for over 8 years, who was doing 12, 15 homes a year. But remember, I got all of those, plus I got probably 10 backup homes. So, I mean, he was over 50% of my business, just one builder. And it was just because I was engaged in that market and he saw what I was doing. And I think that's a great opportunity for all of you. So, all right,
so
David.
Here's one more stats. So if you take any national or local builder, if they have an inside sales office, a lot of brokers think like, oh, they got a salesperson. The stats show that their inside sales, the highest that I found even in our market, is about 65% closed by inside salespeople. 30 to 50% still, they need an outside sales broker period. That's the business that we have to pick up. But that's the business that's laying there on the table for us, for outside brokers to come in and make that transaction happen. So I don't have time, but in our masterclass, we're going to throw a lot of the stats out there so brokers can understand, like, you have to bridge this. Like, you
Yep.
can't just be like, oh, there's no business there. There's so much business there to pick up and bring back to your own business.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's so much opportunity. And if nothing else, I hope this just provides awareness, like, oh yeah, this is a big opportunity for me. No matter if I represent a builder or not, I should be leveraging new construction in my market. And absolutely, I think you should. So feel free to reach out to David. Feel free to reach out to me, pick my brain. Let's, just make sure that this is in the forefront of your mind. I do believe, because we are still in an inventory shortage throughout the country, a lot of the places that do still have new communities popping up, I mean, more new construction is popping up than existing homes in a lot of markets because of interest rates. And so there's just a whole bunch of opportunity on this front. And I just think that you shouldn't miss out on it. So that's why I wanted to bring David in and let you know he's got some really good stuff. If you go find him on YouTube, if you go to poweredbyground.com, he has some good resources and information out there as well. We always like to just point you to people who are experts in their market. As you notice, I don't care what brokerage they're at because I come from abundance. It's all about the experts. We're all going to be all over the place, but who is really focusing on this? Who does what we want to do in our markets? Who's willing to come from contribution and provide information? Who wants to, help others and are passionate about a niche in the market? I love to talk to those people. So by the way, if any of you guys know those people in the market that you've learned from or that you found has been helpful, let me know, because I'd love to bring them on this and get them on my YouTube channel and our eXp family tree so that we can continue to help each other and elevate each other in this industry, because in my opinion, that's how we all win. So David, thanks for being here. It's been fun. And I'm sure people will go check out your stuff. And as you continue to put some of those resources out there,
Absolutely.
you and I will be chatting, and we might be able to share some of that out with the group as well.
Absolutely.
So,
Phenomenal.
all right. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Have a good day.